Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of A Different Perspective. Always happy to be here, even on 4th of July weekend. So hope you guys are having a great holiday weekend. And we are going to be diving into basically a recap today on week 1 of the protein challenge. So hopefully all you guys have been having a great week, but if you aren't, we're going to make it better for you and kind of teach you some things about your body as always. But we also have our amazing giveaways crew here today. So joining me to my left, we have Aaron and Dr. Lucas.
Hey guys, good morning. So what have we got, Dr. Lucas?
Well, we're actually going to be doing ashwagandha capsules. Usually we have a little thing right here, but we decided to keep that part bit more secret this time. But go ahead, engage with us online. We'd love to hear about your 4th of July fun, any big fireworks that you saw. Give us that little piece of, little slice of life that you always have. But make sure you email us when you've got your giveaway.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll be announcing our winners at the end of today's show. We're on Instagram.
Yep.
We're on Facebook, Twitter, X.
We're all over the place as usual.
Everywhere. We're everywhere. ADP. Okay, so we have our big Academy Scholarship winner already this morning, and we're so excited. I'm so excited for this one. Phoebe Cooper, congratulations. You've got a full scholarship to the Wellness Way Academy. So be sure to email giveaways@thewellnessway.com, and we'll get you connected to that Academy team. So congratulations, and welcome to the Wellness Way family.
And don't forget that S on that giveaways.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Alrighty, well, congratulations to our Academy winner. Your life has just been changed, so welcome to the team. So I am super pumped up for today's episode because this is the first week of our newest challenge at the Wellness Way, the Wellness Way Power of Protein Challenge. So step number 1 of today, if you guys are not on our challenge group page where we previously had the No Sugar Challenge, Wellness Way Lifestyle group, go there now. It is now our challenge page where we're going to have various challenges throughout the year. We're going to have a sleep challenge coming up, so that should be great for all you guys because who loves to sleep? I do, right? So the challenging part of sleep can be all different types of things, from falling asleep, staying asleep, finding time to sleep, right, for all of us who are super busy. So be on the lookout for those other challenges coming soon. But right now, we are in the heart of the Wellness Way Protein Challenge. So why I'm so excited for this is because as you guys have been kind of walking through this series with us, protein is a very, very essential part of our diet. And most people have way too much carbohydrates and not enough protein. So what we're trying to do with this challenge is flip-flop it, right? We're not even saying you can't have sugar. We're just saying you have to hit a certain amount of protein. So one of the things you guys can do is go on Google, look up the Wellness Way Protein Calculator. So we actually just came out with our protein calculator, and you guys can put in your weight goals, your activity levels, and if you want to gain weight, gain muscle mass, if you want to lose some adipose tissue, put in those various goals and it will calculate your estimated protein intake on a daily basis. Okay, and I'm going to kind of walk you guys through some of the changes that you may have already been noticing, because with any major dietary change, well, there can be certain problems as far as digestion goes. As far as bowel movements go, there can be some fluctuations there. So why don't we start walking through what you could have expected week 1? If you haven't started the challenge yet, hop on board. It's not too late, but here are some things that you may experience. Okay, so number 1, and this tends to be probably the most common, is some bowel changes. Okay, and this will vary based on the person. Some people will get a little backed up, other people might have a little bit looser stools, and that's okay. Again, it's a major dietary change, and we will kind of go through why some of those things happen. Number 2, those sugar cravings can start to hit pretty hard, okay? Because as you guys increase that protein intake and you start reaching those protein goals, you will find that you are really not hungry enough to eat much carbohydrates. You are pretty dang full. but you can still get some of those sugar cravings. So we still want to, have some of that due diligence to kind of stay away from those, especially highly processed sugars. But also you might be experiencing some weight changes, and I'll kind of walk you guys through some of that too, because for some people might lose a lot of weight really quick. Other people might not gain much weight or lose much weight, right? So there are certain things that we have to take into consideration here, and sometimes testing might actually be necessary. So let's first start and walk through why you might experience certain bowel changes. And kind of like I was alluding to before, with any major dietary change, you will typically notice certain bowel habits change early on. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you were before eating very highly processed foods and now you're just finding the wellness way, just starting to do the protein challenge, you're just diving in. Yeah, you're probably going to notice some pretty significant changes, but there's going to be some of you who simply have been following us for a long time but haven't quite reached those protein goals, haven't quite actually made that leap to really embrace yourself in some of the wellness way culture with a lot of the protein and organ meats and different things like that. So you can notice changes. A lot of people you'll hear people who do the carnivore diet for a month and they'll get major bouts of diarrhea and then they'll get constipated. Well, there's reasons for that. Same thing can be true if people go strictly vegan or vegetarian. They can have certain digestive issues like gas, bloating, constipation, all these things. So with any major dietary change, there is potential for changes in your digestive system, your microbiome. So let's kind of walk through some of those. Okay, so first off, like I was just talking about, it's a major dietary change. Some people don't understand how much 160 grams of protein is until you try to eat 160 grams of protein. It's a lot of protein, and when you start making those changes, it's gonna alter your gut microbiome. There are going to be changes, and that can lead to certain things being eliminated from your body where you tend to start seeing looser stools, and also it might back you up a little bit. Some people do get a little constipated, and that kind of goes over to the next section there where we talk about fiber. Right? So we're obviously very big fans of fiber, especially things like our fermented vegetables, things like sauerkraut, because they actually help stool to pass through the intestinal tract, the colon, and be eliminated properly. Okay, so when you start increasing your protein a lot, which is really what we're trying to do, a lot of people will be too full to even eat full portions of their vegetables and their fruits and different things like that. So you might actually have too low amounts of fiber where now you start noticing some bowel changes. But for a lot of people as well, when you do challenges like this and you're really trying to focus on your health, you just start making different changes to your diet where maybe now instead of having a little piece of dessert, you're gonna have a little bowl of fruit. You're gonna try to make more conscious changes to your food. So you're just gonna have changes in that fiber intake, which can of course change bowel function. Okay, but you can also have abnormalities in your digestion where when you really start eating a lot of protein, you will notice if you have abnormal digestive processes taking place. So by far the most common one that we see is low stomach acid, hypochlorhydria. Okay, and I'm gonna kind of go into a little bit more detail on ways that we can support all of these, so I'll kind of explain it a little bit more. But low stomach acid is very, very common. Simply stressing yourself out mentally is going to lower your stomach acid. Okay, so that may be an area that we need to support during this challenge. Okay, but also poor gallbladder function, decreased pancreatic enzyme secretion, all of these things can hinder your digestion, which can lead to different things like a very, full sensation in your stomach, maybe even feelings of like crampiness and stuff. Those are all just signs that, one, you're gonna need some digestive support, but also you actually may need to get some testing done, maybe a food allergy test or a stool test. So talk with your Wellness Way doctor. If you don't have one, reach out to us, we will get you connected. But then the other thing is simply your sourcing, right? So when we start doing a ton of protein, it's very easy to try to reach for poor sources of protein, because one, it's going to be a little bit cheaper, maybe a little bit more readily accessible to your area. So you might have things like processed deli meats, different things where sure, there is going to be quite a significant amount of protein, but there also might just be some other additives and fillers and different things in there that you don't necessarily want to be consuming. So especially with deli meats, you're going to have nitrates, nitrites. A lot of them have sugar in it and different additives to help kind of thicken it up, because meat will be a little bit watery, different things like that. And then when you're getting beef that's not grass-fed, grass-finished, there's going to be some grains in there, and a lot of times that will change the fat content of that animal. So think of it like a human, right? If we're eating a lot of processed grains and artificial foods and sugars, we start getting adipose tissue, especially around our organs, and we become inflamed. Okay, so you have to start thinking about your food in the same way, right? Even one of the things that I find funny is Wagyu beef, right? Some people are obsessed with Wagyu because it has fat all throughout the muscles. I don't know if you guys knew this, there's not supposed to be fat inside your muscle tissue. That is a sick animal, and people pay a lot of money to eat it, okay? So you have to focus on sourcing. So especially with beef, you're gonna want at least grass-fed, preferably grass-finished, organic as much as you can. That's a simple one where there's a lot of very good farmers, regenerative agriculture, organic practices where you can get some really good quality meats at a good price. But then also with fish, fish is a really big one. It's great for protein. My favorite one is gonna be salmon. Get good fatty acids and different nutrients there. But like I said, a lot of protein, but also you have to get wild caught. You want it fresh from the sea, fresh from preferably wild caught Alaskan salmon is my favorite by far. But a lot of these meats and stuff, they're so processed where now you have farm raised fish, and they will put color into the feed so that the salmon looks a particular way so that you want to buy it. That's kind of manipulation. I don't think that's a good thing to be consuming because, again, that fish is going to be sick. It's not in its natural environment, doesn't have its natural food. So you have to really look at sourcing. So grass-fed, grass-finished for beef, organic meats as much as possible, wild-caught fish, and look for things like no nitrates, no nitrites, no added hormone, no MSG, all those different things, and then you guys should be good to go. Okay, but now let's talk about cravings, right? Why are you gonna get cravings? Why might you experience this? And you'll see, of course, sugar is gonna be the most common craving that people will come by. Even when you're eating a lot of protein, you might still be like, man, I just wish this was a brownie, right? So I've been there, trust me. Sugar cravings, though, by far the most common craving that people will have throughout this challenge. There are, exceptions to the rule. Some people crave salt and they might want a chip and stuff. And again, good thing about this challenge, it's not saying you can't have any of those things, you can't have any fun. It's just saying you have to reach those certain protein goals. Okay, so most people, very addicted to sugar. Most of us working here, we're included in that category, okay? We're not exempt from the rules, right? But with higher amounts of protein, what you'll notice is that there's really not much room left for the sugar, right? You're not gonna want to indulge in dessert. And I'm gonna kind of walk you through some of why that happens, just because protein, the way it signals with your brain, it's very satiating, meaning you're gonna feel full, you're gonna feel satisfied much longer than if you eat, a bunch of processed sugar or even natural sugar, right? You can eat tons and tons and tons of sugar, but try eating just 1 pound of beef. Gonna be a lot harder than you think. Okay, so some of the things that some people might notice is just cravings in general, but other people might notice for a little while, some mild headache, some fatigue, just some different changes going on in their body because they're changing their diet so much. And that's not always a bad thing to have those. It's just saying, hey, things are changing and we need to actually continue to do this because in the long term, this is going to be very beneficial for your body. Okay, so I'm going to pull up one of these older slides. So this is actually a slide from when I did an episode completely on sugar. And I just want to bring this back up to show you guys how does sugar actually affect your body? Okay, so you have the liver, the kidneys, the nervous system, your vitamin and mineral status, your weight, and then at the end, of course, it's going to affect your whole body. But if you have too much sugar, it's going to cause fat accumulation around the liver, aka fatty liver, right? So you can check your triglycerides on your labs. Your kidney function, if you have too much sugar, it's going to cause glycation. Advanced glycation end products can cause damage to the proteins of the kidney. So you can start noticing changes there in your BUN, your GFR, different markers you can look at on your labs. But also your nervous system, right? Think about diabetic neuropathy. Why do diabetics have the highest rate of neuropathy? It's because they are eating and consuming way too much sugar and they have abnormal regulation. And part of that reason is going to go to the vitamins and minerals, because it's going to rapidly, if you have too much sugar, it's going to rapidly utilize a lot more of those vitamins and minerals to turn that sugar into usable energy for your body. But it's also going to deplete yourself of other essential minerals like zinc and other things like that, which are very important for your immune system, for your metabolism. And also weight. Too much sugar can cause weight gain and an increase in visceral adipose tissue, which we know is associated with higher amounts of inflammatory immune system signals called cytokines. So it's going to increase your inflammatory burden. Okay, so well, what does sugar have to do with the protein challenge? Well, I just mentioned if you increase your protein intake, you're by nature going to consume less calories, you're going to consume less sugar, therefore, you're actually supporting your liver, your kidneys, your nervous system. You're going to be sufficient in your different nutrients and vitamins, trace minerals, and also you're going to notice changes with your weight. Okay, some of you might lose weight. Some of you may gain weight. Some of you, and this is a common thing that I have been told just from seeing patients, is, you know, hey, I didn't really lose any weight. However, I'm down, 2 or 3 pant sizes. Like, what the heck's going on? Well, you can actually see redistribution of your adipose tissue, where you might not necessarily lose a lot of weight, but your fat particles start going to the right areas. You're maintaining your lean muscle mass or possibly gaining it. We all know muscle weighs more than fat. So those are all things to look into and monitor as you're going through this challenge. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about weight changes, because that's one of the things that I mentioned earlier on that you might expect in the first week. Okay, so weight loss, right? So when you increase your protein, it can support weight loss. How does it do that? Well, like I said, you're going to decrease your calories, you're going to decrease your carbohydrates, but also you're providing your body sufficient amounts of nutrients. So one of the biggest hurdles for people when they're trying to lose weight is they simply just restrict calories. But you can still kind of eat like crap and be within, a good calorie limit. But if you do that, you're still left deficient in certain nutrients. So at least when we do the protein challenge, we're going to be sufficient in nutrients, which is going to aid in that weight loss process. Okay, and I'll kind of show you guys some resources on that here in a second. But then also weight gain, right? Because you can have muscle building, right? All of that protein is great for muscle repair and muscle synthesis. And you can get that redistribution of adipose tissue where it starts going to the right places of the body, which is great. But again, it's going to depend on your goals. Okay, there's going to be certain people doing this challenge where they have different goals in mind. Right? Some of us want to lose weight. Some of us want to specifically lose fat. Okay? Others, right? I don't have a whole lot of fat tissue to lose. So my goal with this is actually to put on some weight, put on a little bit of muscle. So we're all going to have different goals, and that's going to kind of change, as you guys will see when you use our protein calculator. It's actually going to change your protein goals, because if you want to gain weight, you want to gain muscle, it's going to require a little bit extra protein for that muscle tissue synthesis, okay? So here are just some things that I pulled up for you guys, okay? So these are some things that can happen when you focus on putting protein first, okay? So protein first equals feeling full longer, okay? So increasing the amount of protein you eat may help support weight loss. How? Well, by regulating certain hormones, especially certain signals to your brain, your hypothalamus, and helping you feel fuller longer, amongst other benefits. So plays an important role in overall health, weight management, boosts metabolism, I would say normalizes metabolism, reduces appetite, so there we go again with some of that satiating effects, and affects several weight regulating hormones. So reading into this, there's things like GLP-1, cholecystokinin, just different hormones like ghrelin that are all important with your digestion and your satiation. Okay, I respect you guys. I don't want to bore you to death on, 4th of July weekend here. So we will bypass that. But protein can also help you lose weight and belly fat via different mechanisms. So I'm going to pull up a second thing here, which just talks about eating less calories. But there's a really interesting take on this. So digesting and metabolizing protein, so simply the process of breaking your protein down itself burns calories. So they found out that if you eat protein, so if you look on the bottom, it's called the thermic effect of food. So a thermic effect of 30%, which is what they estimate protein to be, 20 to 30%, would mean that if you consume 100 calories of protein, only 70% of those calories are usable because you use 30% in that digestive process. Now, if you look there, if you compare that to carbohydrates, carbs are only 5 to 10%. So you're going to have excess calories there, and fat is 0 to 3%. So it doesn't really require a whole lot of energy, and fat also is going to have more calories per gram than carbs and protein. So having protein being the majority, you're really going to decrease the amount of calories you're consuming, but also just digesting it, right? Chewing it, having these different enzymatic processes in your body, you're going to burn calories in itself, right? Who knew eating some beef jerky and a burger was a workout? But guess what? Now you guys have that reason, okay? So now we've kind of walked through some of these things that you guys might be expecting, okay? And if you are a person who's having some abdominal pain, maybe you're having some acid reflux, some bloating, bowel changes, we have put together for you guys some supplement bundles, and I want to talk about that. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have already seen it, but when we talk about the protein challenge, this is going to be one of the biggest hurdles that people face, okay? Maldigestion, okay? Because let's face it, we live in a pretty stressful, toxic world, okay? There's a lot of different stressors that one person may face on just the daily basis, right? Maybe traffic's bad. Maybe the morning didn't go as expected in the house. Things popped up. You got busy with kids. You're already stressed out. Now you got traffic on work. You're late to work. All these different things can take place, right? And it can add up. And then you go to eat food and you don't feel good. Well, your digestion is really struggling. Even if you don't think you're stressed out, right? That's me. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm good. And then I sit down and I'm like, oh, what was I doing the last 2 years of my life, right? You can get a little stressed out, get a little carried away with things. So you might need to support some of your digestion, okay? So here is the Power of Protein Challenge Digestive Support Bundle. Okay, so you see we got Wellzyme, Gallbladder Complex, betaine, Digestion Glandular, and you can get 10% off those. So if you guys want to, you can scan that QR code and get your supplement bundle, get your digestive support. And we're going to kind of walk through, well, why might I want to, use these? What do these actually do in my body? How can this support my digestion? Okay, and I can tell you guys personally, I do a lot of these supplements on a daily basis. I just took betaine, I just took Gallbladder Complex, and I just took Wellzyme, and we actually had some Digestion Glandular in the break room, so guess what? Took some of that too. Why not, right? So got to get those nutrients. So they are very important just in your overall digestive processes, and it can help with digestive issues, but also it's going to break down and sterilize your food more, so it can actually help with malabsorption issues. Okay, so let's walk through these one by one and explain what do these do? What are these things, right? So first off, we have betaine HCl. Okay, HCl stands for hydrochloric acid, which basically means this is a direct aid for your stomach acid, okay? And when you have proper stomach acid, you're going to support other aspects of your digestion. You're going to stimulate other digestive enzymes to be secreted from the pancreas. You're going to signal to the gallbladder, hey, you know, there's food in here. We might need some bile kind of dumped down. So it tells your gallbladder when to work. Okay, so stomach acid, like I kind of touched on, it can be reduced in certain health conditions, but also just mental stress, right? Which is why I carry a bottle with me. Because if I want a snack and I'm busy, I'm on the go, I know that my body is probably not in a very calm state to be eating food. So I need to support my digestion to make sure that, especially during the protein challenge, if I'm eating 50 grams of protein per meal, well, I sure as heck want to be able to break that down and absorb it. Otherwise, that's going to be pretty expensive poop. Okay, so it is your protein digestion support, but it's also going to stimulate your other digestive organs. But we also have different ways to support that. Okay, so we have gallbladder complex. So this is slowly becoming one of my favorite things because it is very good digestive support. So especially if you are someone who doesn't have a gallbladder where you've had it removed, well, you're going to have to be on some form of digestive support like this. So gallbladder complex, it contains ox bile, which is why if you don't have a gallbladder, it's very important to have a supplement with that to support your fat breakdown, and I'll kind of explain why that's important. But our gallbladder complex also has beetroot and artichoke in it, okay, and that supports normal gallbladder function. So it actually helps to lubricate your bile duct and open it up so that the bile can pass through it, right? So your gallbladder will actually have a tube that connects to your small intestine, okay, and that is how the bile goes from the storage into your intestine, where there is where it starts to actually break up some of those fats. Now, it's very, very important, especially when we're consuming a lot of protein, because a lot of protein-based foods are going to have some fat content, especially if you're having organ meats like liver, or if you're having the digestion glandular, there's going to be stomach and duodenum and pancreas in there. Those are going to have fat-soluble vitamins. So let's take liver. We have talked about liver. You guys know that we are obsessed with organ meats here because they have vitamin A. They have a ton of other nutrients, but vitamin A is one of the fat-soluble vitamins. Okay, so think of that term, fat-soluble. Okay, if you do not have proper gallbladder function, meaning you can't break up fats, well, guess what? That vitamin A is going to go in one way and out the other, and you're going to become very deficient in vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. Okay, and these can lead to problems. It can cause visual changes, skin changes. That's why one of the common things actually with gallbladder removal, you look at the back of certain people's arms and they'll have all these little bumps over them. Okay, even acne can happen. You can notice hormonal abnormalities when you don't have proper gallbladder function. But one of the cool things about gallbladder complex and supporting normal gallbladder function is your gallbladder is very important for detoxification. Okay, so even detoxing certain hormones and other forms of toxicity in your body, you need to have a good functioning gallbladder. Okay, it's very important. So that gallbladder complex supports normal fat breakdown, and then therefore you can absorb those nutrients to support your body. Okay, and next up, right, time to break it down. Okay, because we have Wellzyme. Okay, so this is going to be some overall digestive support. So this is going to contain various different types of digestive enzymes, and I just threw this on there. It does contain special proteases, so those are enzymes that break up proteins that do actually help you digest dairy and gluten. Okay, now do I recommend eating, a lot of dairy and gluten? Not really, but if you're going to do that, this is a way that you can at least support your body. Okay, one of the cool things about Wellzyme 2 is that it actually protects your GI tissue from irritation. So especially when there's a lot of toxicity or inflammatory foods being introduced, this is a really good way to support the breakdown of those proteins and peptides and stuff, but also prevent some of that irritation, okay? So this supports breakdown of proteins, carbs, and fats because it has various different types of digestive enzymes. Okay, so this is especially going to be beneficial with people who experience a lot of bloating, right? That's probably one of the most common digestive complaints that we hear is that people get bloated, right? And that can be, I mean, it can be from just a little bit of a kind of a pooch to, you know, some people feeling full on 9 months pregnant, right? So this is going to be something where if you can start supporting the way your body breaks down those proteins, you can really help to mitigate some of that bloating. Okay, last but not least, on the supplement bundle, we've got more organ meats for you guys, right? We give away glandulars here like candy, okay? Not today though. Today we are doing ashwagandha. All right, we're doing ashwagandha today. So if you want to get the glandular, you got to get some of that bundle, okay? Get that digestive support. But the digestion glandular contains stomach, duodenum. Duodenum, for you guys that don't know, is basically that first portion of your small intestine, and it's a very, very important portion of your small intestine as a lot of enzymes and changes take place in the breakdown process of your food. But it also has pancreas, and of course, like every single one of our glandulars, it has some liver, okay? So all of these organ meats are grass-fed, grass-finished, from New Zealand, so they have by far the highest standards of agriculture and regenerative farming. So digestion glandular, right? When we talk about glandular supplementation or just consuming organ meats in general, you want to eat organs that you are having problems with in your own body, okay? So for instance, if you have a major inflammatory process with your liver, you're gonna wanna consume some liver, okay? It's gonna have the right proteins and enzymes and peptides to actually help heal and repair that tissue, okay? So especially with the protein challenge, where a lot of people do start noticing like, hey, maybe my digestion's not as good as I thought. Maybe I'm actually having some problems here. You can take some digestion glandular and you can get the right proteins, peptides, cofactors, different things to support that tissue. Okay, and at the same time, you're getting those same fat-soluble vitamins, you're getting the nutrients, the B vitamins, all those great beneficial things for your health. Okay, again, sufficiency. All we're trying to do this whole month is get people sufficient in nutrients. And when you do that, we've already been flooded with comments and messages about how good people feel. They're like, I'm surprised that, you know, my energy is this good and I haven't even eaten sugar, right? I'm surprised I'm losing weight, right? My waist is starting to thin. Dr. Patrick gets hundreds of messages every single day just like this, okay? So it's really cool to see, and these are things that we do with our patients all the time. Even before the protein challenge existed, I always challenge my patients to eat a lot of protein because it's very important. All of our doctors do this. Okay, so it's very, very cool. But what's one last struggle that some people are going to have? And this actually, I debated what was going to be the biggest challenge. Maldigestion is just so common, and I think that's probably the biggest thing, but simply eating enough protein is very difficult. Okay, especially when you type in that protein calculator like I did, you know, all right, what's your goal weights? You know, what's your activity level? You know, I'm pretty active and I want to put on a little bit of muscle. And I saw my protein come up, and at the higher end, it's like 230 grams. And I'm like, ooh, that's going to be a workout trying to eat that much protein. Okay, so if you need a little extra protein, one of the other things that we do have is protein powders, right? These can still be absolutely fantastic to help get you through these challenges, help you reach those protein goals. So we have the bone broth protein, okay? It's 20 grams of protein per scoop. So bone broth is gonna be a little bit different. It's not a muscle meat, right? This is more of actually an organ meat because it is bone marrow, right? So it's gonna support your hair, your nails, your skin, joints, cartilaginous tissue, connective tissue, but one of the really cool things is it actually helps heal up your gut because it has the right proteins and amino acids to do that, okay? So we've got a couple different flavors. We got the chocolate, the vanilla, and the pear. You can add it to smoothies. You can make your own little bars with it, your own little protein bars, and I've got another little tidbit here I'm saving for the end for you guys, something that I like to do. But bone broth protein is not the only protein that is allowed, right? Any good quality protein, we typically don't like necessarily people doing whey protein just because it has a major spike on your insulin, which again, is that bad? Well, not necessarily. It will really help you if you want to gain muscle, but it all comes down to sourcing, okay? And how your body is, again, digesting and breaking down these foods. But another one of our favorite brands here is gonna be Prime Protein, okay? So this is actually a grass-fed beef-based protein, and it has minimal ingredients, and it tastes really good. Okay, so that's another great protein source if you are someone who's really, really struggling to just simply get enough protein, because I get it, it can be pretty tough. But one of the things too that we're doing is we're offering 10% off on our bone broths, on our proteins for you guys. So you guys can scan that code and stock up on some bone broth and get support for getting through this challenge, okay? And of course, we know it's not easy. I think half the people in our office were trying to do the protein challenge before it came out, and guess what? There were a lot of people in the break room trying to get down a steak, and they are, looking like they're struggling a little bit, okay? Because it can be difficult. It is a lot of meats, a lot of protein, and sometimes you literally don't want to eat. I mean, that's the one cool thing about this challenge is you never go hungry. I promise you. If you do, send me a message because you are going to be an anomaly, okay? Last couple things here, right? When we are talking about challenges, we always want to set ourselves up for success, set you guys up for success. So when it comes to the no sugar challenge, right? It's okay, let's get ready. We know it's called a challenge for a reason. It's going to be quite difficult. Okay, so no sugar challenge, what are we doing? We're preparing you guys right away. We're saying, all right, get your groceries, make your list, get rid of the snacks, do the different things, okay? But here, it's a little bit different, right? Because here, we're not telling you to limit anything. We're saying just eat a bunch of protein. So how do you set yourself up for success? Okay, my rule is eat your protein first. Okay, the more protein you consume, the less junk you're gonna wanna consume. Because like I said, trust me, you're gonna be pretty full, okay? When you're starting, and again, this is just a general little rule here, okay? Aim for 40 grams of protein per meal, okay? So if you are eating 3 meals a day, that's gonna be 120 grams. Now, that's not gonna be enough for all of us, but it's a very, very good starting point, okay? And then once you get to 120, try to add 10 more per meal. Get up to 150. And again, that's just going to depend on, of course, your goals. So you'll have to, again, I'll reference you back to our protein calculator. You can go to Google, just type in the Wellness Way protein calculator and figure out what's going to be a good amount for you to aim for. Okay, now, say we've been talking a lot about building your plate, right? You guys always know Doc throws that picture up there with the giant steak, right? So eat your giant steak first, but then after that, you still want to consume some veggies, right? He's got his asparagus or the Brussels sprouts, a little bowl of berries in the corner, or a salad, right? You still can eat and enjoy all of those different things, and I think it's still important to have those in your diet. They're very good for you, okay? But then again, you're going to want to stay away from those processed foods, those high sugar foods. Okay, and I really believe that if you are eating the right amount of protein for you and you're adding in your vegetables and berries and different things, you're going to be struggling to eat that brownie. You really will. It is just sometimes very difficult to even complete your whole meal getting your protein intake. So that is some very good guidelines just to start this challenge. And of course, if you are having certain problems, maybe your digestion's really changing or something, you may just need to reach out to your doctor and get some testing done, because one of the cool things about, say, our stool test is we can actually look and see directly how well you're breaking down your protein, how well you're breaking down your carbohydrates. We can directly see how much pancreatic enzymes are being released from your body. We can look at the fat content of your stool, which tells us, are you even absorbing it, right? Are you eating a lot, right? So we get to look at all those nitty-gritty details, and then of course we can see, you know, any changes to your microbiome. Okay, so it's very, very cool, and that's why we're always honing in on the importance of getting that proper testing. Okay, now trust me, I know you guys, I've done the show a couple times and I have talked about food quite a bit, so I already hear you, right? Hey doc, what about snacks, right? It's 4th of July weekend, I need some snacks, okay? Well, cool thing is this, you can still have a lot of fun doing this diet, okay, doing this challenge. So my go-tos are always gonna be protein-based snacks. Even when I'm not doing the protein challenge, I love a beef stick, I love beef jerky, you know, I'm pretty basic, I don't mind some hard-boiled eggs, just something to give me enough nutrients. But then again, you can always go back to a protein shake. You can get really creative. We have some really awesome recipes on our website. So a lot of people still don't realize that if you go to thewellnessway.com and go to our resources tab, we have tons and tons of amazing recipes. Now we have our new cookbook coming out. So you guys have access to so many different things here where, trust me, you can find some pretty good snacks. And majority of these are quick, they're easy, and it works even if you're on the go. Right, I've got a lot of patients who are truck drivers, people who travel a lot, pilots, different things like that, where it's very, very difficult. And I totally understand, you know, even just being a mom and having a bunch of kids, and you gotta run people to practice, you gotta make their lunch, you gotta get them ready for school, right? Where do you have time to even make a full meal, right? So things get busy and it becomes very easy to go for some of those easy snacks. But typically those easy snacks aren't necessarily the greatest for your body. So I always recommend just have some beef sticks on hand. You get some good quality beef sticks. Some of them literally have organ meats in them. And the good thing is you can't really tell, can't really taste it. They mask it pretty good with the right herbs and spices and stuff. But you can get a good 20 grams of protein by eating a little bag of some beef jerky or a couple little beef sticks, and it's a lot better for you than grabbing, say, like a granola bar or whatever other things we're gonna be snacking on. But again, I understand it's 4th of July weekend and people like a little cold treats, right? Maybe a little popsicle, maybe some protein ice cream, maybe, right? So this is one of the things that I love to do. Okay, I love making protein ice cream because, guys, I'm human too, and I didn't always used to do the Wellness Way stuff, and I was pretty good at eating ice cream, okay? I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty good at it. One of my talents, okay? So I like to make my protein ice cream now. So how you do it, you can freeze your choice of dairy-free milk. So my favorite is just gonna be like a full-fat coconut milk, and sometimes I'll even get a can of it. I'll put that in the fridge, and you can scrape out the thick, fatty cream of it on the top, and you put that in a blender or a food processor, whatever you have, and you freeze the milk, you add in whatever else you want, some coconut cream. I've done avocados before. You can do little berries if you want. Otherwise, I kind of like to sprinkle them on the top. And then 1 scoop of protein, right? So a protein powder. So I like to do either a chocolate bone broth or maybe some of the prime protein, some more of a beef-based if I want more like muscle repair, muscle synthesis stuff. I'll do a little pinch of sea salt, and you just blend it up. And one of the guys here at work's been doing it, and he calls it the Wellness Way Frosty. For those of you who have had like I think it's Wendy's or something with the cold frosty little ice cream thing. But it's really good. Okay, so you can still have a lot of fun, and there's other good brands out there. There's organic, like all fruit juice popsicles and different things, right? So get your protein, but you can still enjoy some of these things too. You can have protein ice cream, right? I challenge you guys that. Actually, that's gonna be your new challenge for the rest of this weekend is I challenge you guys to make some protein ice cream and take a picture of it, post it, tag us, let us know how it is, give us a rating, tell us your flavor, your technique, what are you adding to it, and I want to actually see those. So I'm going to be looking to see what you guys have. So without further ado, that's all I got for you. We're keeping it short today. Go get outside, enjoy the rest of your guys' weekend, but before we go, we've got some giveaways.
Thanks for all those tips. I think I need some ice cream.
I do too.
I know what we're doing.
Yes, it's me. I struggle to eat the whole steak.
Yes.
Now.
It was her.
Yeah. So, all right, giveaways.
So we've been having a great time online, but we'd like to change things up just a little bit today. We found that the whole email thing actually worked out really well, so we're actually going to switch over to doing that this time.
Yeah, last weekend it went so well. We had so many people so excited that usually they're not in the comments so much. So we're trying to pull you out, right? Like we're all about
We will talk to you.
helping people get out of their comfort zone, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the first 15 people, hurry up, go now. Email giveaways@thewellnessway.com and haven't won before, Allie will make sure that you get a bottle of ashwagandha capsules. So the first 15 people to email giveaways@thewellnessway.com who have not won before will be getting one. Now, we're not going to do this next week, so we're going to encourage you to participate. So go ahead, hurry up, do it now.
Awesome. Alrighty, guys. Well, you heard it. You better be really quick because tell you what, we have some very dedicated people who probably love ashwagandha, so you better get on that one real quick. But guys, thank you so much for taking some time out of your 4th of July holiday weekend, spending it with me, spending it with the crew. We got more people in the back. We are always here for you guys. We love delivering these messages, and I absolutely love telling people to eat some protein ice cream. So you guys make sure you do that. Take a picture of it. I want to see, because guess what? I haven't mastered the recipe yet. I think there could be some improvement, and I'm very, very curious to see what you guys come up with, because you guys are some pretty incredible people and you guys have some great ideas. So look forward to that, and we will see you guys next week.
For the unedited, full-length, unapologetic content, go to our website to watch ADP shows. Hit that subscribe button and join our community for the most amazing content like this every day.